Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's recipe, we're going to be making some honey oat sourdough bread. This is one of my favorite sourdough recipes, so stay tuned and I'm going to show you how to make it. To begin with, we're going to start with our sourdough starter. And here I'm adding about 40 grams of sourdough starter, about 100 grams of flour, and 100 grams of filtered water. I'm doubling the recipe, that's why I'm making more. But if you want to make the recipe just for a single loaf of bread, it's going to be about 200 grams of sourdough starter, 50 grams of flour, and 50 grams of water. I'm going to give it a good stir and place in a warm place. I'm going to put it in the microwave because my city right now is a little bit cold. But if it is really warm in the place that you're living in right now, just leave it in the countertop and it's gonna do great. In a large bowl, I'm using the mixer bowl, so I'm gonna be adding about 100 grams of sourdough starter, about 300 grams and 50 of warm water, about 25 grams of honey, and 25 grams of oats. I'm adding here 50 grams of whole wheat flour. And then I'm gonna add in here about 425 grams of all-purpose flour. You can use bread flour as well, it's okay, it's not a big deal. And about 10 grams of salt. And we just gotta make sure that we have added all the ingredients and all the right amount of it. And right now I'm gonna give it a good stir. The dough is okay if it gets too sticky like this. This is how it should be looking like. I'm gonna put a dish rag on top of it and let it rest for about an hour. And now we're gonna be doing the first stretch and fold. I'm gonna wet my hand with some water, not a lot, just. And now we're gonna stretch and fold our dough. We can't fold it a lot. We're gonna grab a little piece of it and pull it up and fold it. If we fold it a lot, we're gonna overproof our sourdough and you gotta get too sticky and it's not gonna be okay. And I'm gonna put a dish rag on top of it and let it rest for about 30 minutes. This is the second stretch and folds. Right now, we're gonna do something a little bit different that I was doing before. We're gonna do some stretch and folds, but I'm gonna do as well some coil folds. This is great because it's gonna help the sourdough to get more strength and to be smoother. And you're gonna it's just gonna look better, and I think this is the best way, but you can use the method that you prefer to stretch and folds or some coil folds. I think this one works the best for me, but you can just use the one that you like the most. Now I'm gonna put the dish rag on top of it and let it rest for more 30 minutes. Right now I'm doing the third stretch and folds. I'm doing some stretch and folds and some coil folds. As I said before, you can do the method that you prefer. And this is the last round. After that, you can see that the dough is a little bit more smoother and is not sticky as much as it was before. And right now I'm adding some flour to the improvised baguette one. I do not have it, so I'm using a Tupperware container and some dish rags. I'm going to sprinkle some flour on the countertop and place my dough in it. And I'm going to do some folds. So it's going to be a little bit more round shape and it's gonna be the way that I want it. You can shape it the way you want to. I just prefer to be round. I think it is easier. So basically here I'm doing some coil folds and this gonna make the sourdough looks a little bit more round shape and it's gonna look better in the end. Now I'm gonna divide them because I said it before in the beginning of the video. I'm making a double batch, so I'm making 2 loaves of sourdough bread, but you can make only one. I'm gonna put the recipe in the captions below so you can follow. And now I'm doing more coil folds and I'm gonna make a movement that is moving them around. So they're gonna be round in shaped. We're gonna make this movement just for a few times, not a lot, otherwise we're gonna overproof our dough. And then we're gonna put in the improvised baguette one. And I'm gonna pinch them, as you can see them here. I kind of like stitching them together so they're not gonna be open. and they're gonna be a round shape and they're gonna look nicer once I'm gonna bake them tomorrow. And I'm gonna do the same thing that I did to the previous sourdough loaf to this one. And we're gonna do some coil fill. Now I'm gonna place them in an improvised banneton, as I said before, and I'm gonna pinch them and stitch them together so they do not gonna be open tomorrow, and they're gonna look nicer once I'm gonna bake them. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of whole wheat flour or all-purpose flour, bread flour, whatever flour you're using, on top of it, so you're not gonna stick to the rag that is underneath it. And I'm gonna now put a plastic wrap. I'm gonna wrap them up. You can use a plastic bag if you do not have plastic wrap, but I'm using plastic wrap because I think it's easier and it's gonna seal them better. And then we're gonna place them in the fridge and let them overnight or for about 8 hours. So this is in the next day. I let it improve in the fridge for about I think 9 hours. And now what I like to do is shake them a little bit. I like to shake them twice. So I'm gonna take them out of the bandeton, put them in the countertop, sprinkle with some flour. This is whole wheat flour. And I'm gonna do the same process that I did yesterday. And as you can see, they look smoother because they was in the fridge. So they look a little bit more smooth than before, and they're gonna be a little bit more shaped and round. This is why I like to make it twice. I'm gonna make the same movement, the same thing to the other sourdough loaf, and it's not complicated, it's not difficult. Once you got it, you're gonna make a lot of sourdough breads, and they all gonna be looking amazing and delicious. So now we're gonna place them in the baking pan. I'm using my oven baking pan, but you can use a Dutch oven. I do not have a Dutch oven, that's why I use a baking pan. And I just added a little bit of parchment paper underneath it. So the parchment paper is literally to make easier to remove them out of the baking pan. Right now, I'm rounding them. I'm making some round movements, so they're gonna be round. And right now, I just gonna score it. I do not own a razor, but I do have a sharper knife. With a razor, you can score them and make beautiful designs, but I just like to score it just a simple way. I'm sprinkling some oat flakes on top of the sourdough, so it's gonna look nicer once it's baked. But if you do not want to, you can just do not add it on top of it. Right now, I'm adding some hot water to a pan and I'm gonna add it underneath the sourdough because it's gonna create some vapor and it's gonna work just as a Dutch oven does. The temperature of the oven it is about 400 Fahrenheit. And right now I'm removing them and put them up so I can remove the water. So I let them bake with the vapor, the water inside for about 30 minutes and I remove the water and let them bake more to get a little bit more brown for about 10 minutes. But the last 10 minutes in the oven, I slowed down the temperature a little bit for 350 graus Fahrenheit. Right now, I did not wait until the sourdough was completely cold. So I just was waiting for it, so I sliced it up. But as you can see in here, it looks nice, it's well baked, and it's not raw in the middle. Sourdough bread is really good for our intestines health and it's really amazing and delicious. I think is my favorite bread. And what I like to do is slice some sourdough bread and place them in the freezer so I can just take some whenever I want to because they get moldy really fast. I hope you liked the recipe. Thank you so much for watching.